Yo, what up? It's your boy Marv for More Beats. How you guys doing today? I hope everyone is good for this Friday evenings when I'm recording this. But I hope you guys are ready for the weekend, ready to get it started. And yeah, man, just want to pop in with you guys. I told y'all that I will be trying to be more consistent in doing these. Not every day, but at least once a week, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully I can do at least once a week. I'm trying to figure out if Friday, would that be a better day? Maybe I'll try to do it. No, I can't do it on a Wednesday. I may be able to try to do it on a Thursday to be able to have it ready for Friday, and then that can carry you through the weekend. Yeah, I think that sounds good. But anywho, before we get into this, I just want y'all, if y'all would do me a favor, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, man. I would greatly appreciate it. Even though I'm doing this once a week, I'm going to be getting a little more consistent on the beat videos, tutorials, and stuff. That's what I mentioned in the last video. But yeah, if you guys would please like, share, and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, so when I do post something new, you will be the first to see it, hear it, whatever. Please do that for your boy. I want to piggyback on something that I said in the last week's webcast. I don't know to call it the podcast or webcast. I don't know, but I'm just getting behind the mic and talking. But I mentioned to you guys as I was getting ready to close about using what you have in your hand. And I wanted to give you guys that scripture on where that came from. That actually came from Exodus chapter 4, verse 2. But I'm going to start at verse 1. And this was Moses talking to God, trying to basically, Moses was asking God, well, how they going to believe me or listen to what I'm saying? Because, of course, we know Moses was the man. You know what I'm saying? And he having a time with the people. And he trying to get the people to believe, you know what I'm saying, that God is with him. So in verse 1 it says, Moses answered, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? So what he's doing, he's just basically they having doubts. They like, yeah, and the Lord ain't talking to you, Joker. Moses, you stay right up the road from me. You know what I'm saying? How you become the man all of a sudden. So then the Lord said to Moses, then the Lord said to him, what is in your hand? Moses replied, a staff. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. I'm going to stop right there because it's just going into, those signs to let them know that God is with them. But God was like, what do you have in your hand? Use what you have in your hand. So I just wanted to make sure I give y'all some reference to that, to that scripture that I mentioned last week. That is a scripture that is in Genesis chapter 4, verse 2. And I just want to talk about, talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Using what you have in your hand, finding your niche. Now, I know finding your niche is like cliche, but you got to find what you're good at, I know last week I was talking about, finding them talents and whatever giftings you have, we're responsible and required to use it. But please, by a show of hands, if you can just leave me a hand raise emoji in a comment to let me know that you guys just got to working beyond what the negative thoughts, what your negative mind was telling you. Did y'all get to work? Did you just do it? I would love to know if that put a battery in your back and got you going. But anyway, finding out what you're good at. So I just kind of want to just break down, how I got into iOS production. a majority of the community know me as a producer that use my iPad to make beats on, right? And what happened, it became a niche. Let me just break it down let me break it down to you guys on how that came about, right? So I come from hardware drum machines, and I want to say right around 2010, 2011 is when I got introduced to a DAW, digital workstations. The first software that I started using was Reasons 2.5. That was a long time ago. Reasons 2.5. I had my homeboy Levester White, from out of Austin. He of course, and he threw a brother a bootleg copy. That copy that you download and then you can't go register it online because it's gonna kick it out. I had one of those versions. I'm ashamed to say, but I did have a bootleg copy of Reasons, and don't be trying to judge me because I know a lot of y'all probably had some bootleg versions or still got some bootleg versions. But as I digress, I started out on Reasons 2.5, and somebody coming from hardware to like now working, making beats on a computer was just like a whole different world. But I ain't gonna lie. Once the fundamentals in whatever you're using is the same. Whether you're using a drum machine or you're using a DAW, like the same principles and fundamentals are the same, just on a different type of, piece of equipment. So once I understood and got the hang of Reasons, I just fell in love with it, man. And I started at, like I said, I started at Reasons 2.5. I went all the way up. They had Reasons Record. That came maybe around Reasons 4. I went all the way up to 8 before I got my first Mac computer, right? I was on PC all the way up to Reasons 8. Full-fledged Reasons all the way up to I said 8 already. But then I got my first Mac computer, I want to say maybe around, and you know what? I want to backtrack. I need to backtrack on that time. I started out on Reasons around 2008, 2009. It was between 2008 2009 is when I switched over to Reasons. And then I did Reasons all the way up to, I want to say maybe about 2011, 2012. And that's when I got into, that's when I got my first Mac computer. I got into Cubasis and Logic and VSTs. VSTs was a whole different type of, it was totally different from Reasons. But once I got the hang of how Logic works and Cubasis works, and being able to use VSTs at that time, I had a pastor from out of California that blessed me with my first Mac computer. And not only did he bless me with my first Mac computer, shout out to Pastor Williams from out of Oakland, Zoe Ministries was his ministry. Anywho, he blessed me with my first Mac, and it came with Cubasis 5, and it had Logic, I think maybe Logic 8, something around there, Logic 8, and then it had Native Instruments. It had the complete Native Instruments 4, the whole complete 4. So that was a whole different world, getting into VSTs and falling in love with it, and just the authenticity of the instruments, and just the sounds and stuff. So from 2008-9 all the way up to maybe about 2012, I was on a computer. Then 2013 rolled around. I happen to be scrolling through YouTube, and I'll see if I can find the video and post the link, and so you can check it out. I was watching a Manny Fresh and a Mos Def video, and Manny, they was at the House of Blues, and it looked like Mos Def was in New Orleans, and they went to the studio afterwards. And Manny Fresh, which is a New Orleans native as well, and Manny comes from hardware. If you ever seen any videos with Manny Fresh, he still got the original 808 TR-808. You know what I'm saying? So he comes from a hardware background, but this dude was making beats on an iPad, and when I seen that, it was like the whole world stopped. I was like, oh my God. What is this? And man, he was using a software which I use to this day, Beatmaker 2. He was using Beatmaker 2. I'm on 3 now. Shout out to Intway, my homeboy Vincent over there. I've been blessed to be able to have conversations with the owner of Beatmaker, with the whole Beatmaker software. But anyway, Manny was using Beatmaker 2. And man, I fell in love. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing with my eyes, and the way he was using it, and you know, just flowing through it, and you know how he was like, it was like if he was using MPC, but it was on an iPad. And I'm telling you, that just floored me. I was sold. So I told my wife for my next birthday, I want an iPad. And the next for my birthday, I started out with the iPad Generation 2, 16 gig, that 30 pin. And as soon as I got that mug, the day I got it, that was the day I bought Beatmaker 2. And you know, again, the fundamentals and the principles of beat making is the same, regardless to what you was using. So, you know, once I got into the mix and, you know, started learning the workarounds and, you know, just how to just start it, it was on. But I will say this, there was a piece of me, make sure my phone is on vibrate. There was a piece of me that really wasn't like, let me just be real. That was a tad bit shame or a little bit embarrassment at the time. Now, even though Manny is like an industry producer, you know, it's almost like he can get away with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he can use a pot and come out with a fire bounce beat, you know what I'm saying? And he put his stamp on it and everybody's good. But, you know, just the average, you know, indie producer, you know what I'm saying, using the iPad, you know, that came with a little bit of shame, you know, when I first started out with it. Even though the beats were good, you know, just, you know, getting people, just like Moses, you know what I'm saying? How do I get the people to believe me? You know what I'm saying? How do I get people to believe that making a beat on an iPad is real? So what I did, I had committed to saying, you know what? I'm done with making beats on my Mac, which I had an iMac at the time. I'm done with making beats on my Mac, and I'm a focus on. I'm a strictly use Beatmaker 2 at that time as my music production software, and I learned the ins and outs, how it functions, how it works. You know, I started coming up with shortcuts to make my make the work more efficient and more easier. And man, you know, and as time was going on, I said, okay, now it's time to, I think I'm good enough on it. Now it's time to start letting the community know that this is real. So I started doing, you know, Instagram had came along. I just started posting, you know, videos of me making beats on the iPad, you know what I'm saying? On my little small iPad 3, you know what I'm saying? And I laid it out, man. I got a case built for it, had it sitting up. Like my iPad now, you probably can't see it from this corner view, but I take a picture of it, you know what I'm saying? I've always built like a case to have it sit up, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just started, you know, making beats on it, you know what I'm saying? And it was still, you know, people would come and be like, oh man, it's a nice way to start a beat, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, that's a good way of, you know, that's a nice sketch that you started. But I was, my goal was to, okay, it's gonna be, I'm gonna make this more than just a sketch pad or just an idea. I want to make a beat. I want to be able to use this from start to finish. Sequenced, tracked out, mixed, EQ'd, mastered, whatever. All in this iPad. And as time went on, people started to get more familiar with it. Not only did people start getting familiar with it, I had other companies that were like, you know, started reaching out. I had different companies, case in point. I would say this. I don't want to say Machine Masters reached out to me. I used to work for Machine Masters, but before I worked for Machine Masters, I was one of their, you know, I used to buy all their kits, you know. And Booney Mayfield was, you know, and still is a beast on the beats, you know what I'm saying? And Booney started coming out with these different drum kits and, you know, loop kits and stuff. So, you know, I would buy the kits and chop them up, make beats with them, and tag Machine Masters in it, right? So every now and then, Machine Masters, they would, AG and Billy Blast, shout out to the homies. I haven't talked to them in a while, but, you know, when we do talk, we always have good conversations and stuff. I appreciate them allowing me to be able to be a part of their team some years ago. But, you know, I would tag them, and sometimes I would get a repost. And then, you know, the thing was, if I got to repost it, if they reposted a video, so now, not only are they introducing me to their audience, they're introducing the iPad to the audience. So I would just, you know, every time I would use a sample loop that I bought, a sample of something that I use, I would tag the producer, the sound designer that made it, and I would tag Machine Masters. And man, you know, and at the same time, that platform started to just build, and people started like, oh yeah, he killing it on the iPad. Man, I had one of my homeboys, Knock Squared. He told me one time, he said, bro, I guarantee you that the sale of iPads have went up, you know what I'm saying, after you and a few others, you know what I'm saying, start making it a real thing for music production, which I do believe. You know, I wish Apple would give me a little piece of that, you know what I'm saying? Give me some stocks on that, you know, because I do know a lot of people that converted over to iOS production. You know, I've had a lot of industry producers reach out to me, and that I still talk to this very day. But it was because of what they were seeing me doing on the iPad that intrigued them. So anyway, Machine Masters, AG reached out to me, said, hey man, I see that you buy a lot of kits from us. Would you like to be a part of our team? And I'm like, yes. Without a doubt, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, okay, so, you know, what that consists of, we pay you a little change, you know what I'm saying? And you get to do reviews you review the kits, and then you get all the kits. So I'm like, that's a win-win for me. Make a lip, make a few coins, and get the free kits. That was a no-brainer. All the while, all at the same time, I'm building a platform of me using the iPad for production. And by the time Machine Masters reached out to me, I said, oh yeah, this is my niche. The iPad is my niche. You know what I'm saying? I'm officially an iPad producer. And you know, and I say that with no shame, because listen, all of the sound kits that I've created that are on Machine Masters and on my website, make sure I put some links in there. But I made them on my iPad. Made all my I designed all my sound kits on my iPad, you know, using various plugins, VSTs that are on the iPad, you know. So, you know, by that time, that was my, you know, I'm sold. That's my niche, you know. And I tell you what, when I was working with Machine Masters, I think he's okay with me saying this because that's my guy. And I don't know if AG will ever watch this video, but I'm going to say it anyway. But I remember getting a phone call from AG, and he was like, hey, man, we're going to have to slow down on a lot of this iPad productions on a Machine website. Machine Masters was the name Machine. You know what I'm saying? What happened, and at that time, man, you know, we was in our heyday, so we had, you know, AG had a network, he had a channel, a TV station going on, because they had me on the iPad, then we had somebody on the Akaya, then we had somebody on the Machine, then you had somebody on Studio One, you had somebody on Logic, and then they would have the kit reviews. Like, he had a full-fledged TV station going on. Everybody had their own little corner, and man, you know, we started making nice little bread on the kit. I mean, on the reviews and everything, man. But then it just came to a place where, you know, and I think maybe, you know, other dudes kind of just got busy, but I just stayed grinding. And for a while, the site had just came fully consumed with iOS. And he was like, yo, man, we're going to slow it down, dog. You know what I'm saying? We got too much of the iPad going on. He was like, man, well, you might need to switch it up and go back to Logic, go back to the Mac, you know, computer and stuff. And I think I took some time to think about it. And I came back to him and I said, man, you know what? I said, AG, I said, I totally respect, you know, it was a branding issue, which I totally respect. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like working in Coca-Cola. What Frank Lucas said? He said, it's Coca-Cola. He said, I stand behind it. I guarantee you. There's no way you're gonna have Coca-Cola. You're gonna be making Pepsi in a Coca-Cola factory. No, it's Coca-Cola. So he was like, so it was a branding issue for him, and he was like, man, maybe you need to go back and start using the Machine, which I had a Machine. I had the Machine MK1. I might have did a few tutorials, you know, using Machine. But when he was like, man, I think we're gonna need to go back a little bit, I was like, you know what, AG? I said, man, I totally understand and respect you. I said, but man, I'm gonna have to stay with what I do. I said, man, I'm an iOS producer, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I totally get what you're saying. I said, but man, if it's a matter of me, you know, compromising what I do, I'd rather for us just go ahead and part ways and we just keep it moving, right? So I think I started working for Machine Master, and I think maybe some months I came back and started doing the Sample Pack Saturdays, which when he asked me to come back, I said, hey, gee, listen, man, when I come back, you know I'm using his iPad. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, I know. Let's do it. So Mobile Tip Tuesdays, Mobile Remake Tuesdays, and Sample Pack Saturdays were my main. That was Tuesdays and Saturdays were my days where, you know, I really displayed what I did, you know. And so from 2012 to 2022, that's been 10 years where I've been strictly iOS music production, right? You know, pretty much iOS. I don't want to say iOS everything, because a lot of video editing that I've been doing now, I went back to my MacBook. Now I do have LumaFusion on here, but for some reason I just like the click of a mouse when I'm video editing. But all my music production, that's on the iPad, you know. And I just, you know, and I just want to encourage y'all, man, is to, now that we getting rid of all of the negative thoughts about what we can't do and what we can't do and what we can do and all that stuff, now that we push that to the side, now it's time to get to work finding what your gift is and getting to it. you know, and finding your niche, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, have fun at it, have fun doing it. And you know, I make money, I make money, you know, with my niche, you know what I'm saying? I'm using what God put in my hand to be able to provide for my family, you know? So yeah, man, find your niche. Just, you know, do an assessment of all the things that you're good at and figure it out, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and find out what it is. And granted, a lot of people that may be watching this video may all be into music production and stuff. But man, find something different in that. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I found something different in music production, making beats on the iPad. Now you got a whole community of dudes that are, you know, making beats on the iPad. You know what I'm saying? You got industry producers that are getting hip. You got Madlib did Freddie Gibbs' whole album on iPad. You know what I'm saying? Just Blaze, you know, he tinkled back and forth with it. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of these major software companies, you know, starting to see that using the iPad for music production is starting to become a real thing. You got Waves have a kit with Cubasis, have a bundle kit in Cubasis. You know what I'm saying? You got IK Multimedia, which they've always kind of been in the you know, iOS field, but you know they got a massive plug-in for the iOS. Who else? You got Moog. You know, you got the mini Moog, you got the whole Moog Foundation. They got music, they got plugins, they got the mini Model D joint on the iPad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just see Ableton just came out with something called Notes. So these major companies are starting to peep game and be like, yo man, you know, this iPad thing is a real thing. You know, so if you're using an iPad or not, regardless to whatever you're using, find your niche and find what you're good at in it. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody can do something different. You know, you might be using FL Studio. Man, really tap in and find something that, dig in it and find out, you know, find a niche that somebody's not doing. You know, I love, and I'm closing, I'm wrapping up, but I loved the Wonder Years documentary. And y'all got to see that, man. I think every musician, not just producer, but I think every musician should see the Night Wonder documentary. And I watched it about 3-4 times, and it's like every time I watch it, I just get inspired all over again. What a simple statement that he makes in there. When he was working on the Girl track, he said that they was in the studio, and he might have just finished making it, and Matthew Knowles, which is Beyonce's daddy, walked in the studio, and she said, "Daddy, he made that beat on that. He made that beat on this computer." He said that she was having this daddy moment, like she couldn't believe it, and the daddy couldn't believe it. But tonight, he knew he had it was on. For her to have that type of moment and to make a big that was so big on a computer, he knew that what he was doing, that ain't nobody could tell him different about FL Studio. And he started out on like Cool Edit. That was another program he mentioned in there, but it was Cool Edit, something else, and then he went to FL Studio. You know what I'm saying? And people, and at that time, when Knight was using it, Knight was like, yo, man, I'm just trying to make some jams, but just the same thing, you know what I'm saying? People were ragging on him because he was making beats on the computer. He also made a statement. He was like, he went out to DJ Jazzy Jeff's house, and Jazzy Jeff got 50 million keyboards around here, and Knight and cranked out 5-10 beats on his computer in this one day. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know, Knight found his niche. He found what he was good at. You know what I'm saying? And man, it won him Grammys and everything. So that's my encouraging words, man. Use what you have in your hand. Find your niche. And, man, get to making that good music. All right? Appreciate y'all, man. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. Please, please, please. Brother trying to build that back up, man, and I'm really trying to get into it. On my next video, I will do maybe some talking / beat video. That's something my wife mentioned, that she said that think you need to do that. You know, actually she said that you need to do some talking a little bit and then do like a beat video. But I ain't got time to do that today. I should have. I got caught up earlier, so I didn't really map out my timing. But on my next video, I will do a little jibber jabbing, and I will go through my beat process. All right, man. Y'all have a great week, great weekend. Whenever you're watching this, y'all be blessed, man. Make some good music. Find your niche. Use what you have in your hand. It's already there. Just do an assessment of all your gifts and find out what you're good at. And let's get to this money. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, well, yeah, get to the money. Well, let's get to creating, all right? It's your boy Marv from My Beats. Grace and peace.